Little mama is rich.
Little Sekia is going to private school for the rest of her life, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. Unless you end up like Antonio Brown.
Bro, I'm just like done. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. I'm so done with this Stephen A. Smith, Bob Myers like panel. It's just not substantive, bro.
I can't.
Like I get you're gonna be the president in 4 years, but like we don't want to see you talking about basketball anymore. If you're gonna be playing cards in the middle of NBA games.
You think Chuck and Shaq not gonna clown him next year?
Oh my God.
It was funny. Like whenever on First Take, he was like, I'm Stephen A. and I approve this message. I was like, he even got the thumbs up down. Like,
just go to politics, bro. That's your true passion at this point. Is politics.
Man makes almost more CNN appearances than he does his own show now.
Yeah,
it's like every week he's on there.
Now you know you got to get the clapper. Get the clapper. Because you didn't do it last time.
We didn't
waste. And it's backwards. There we go.
What's up?
There we go.
Yeah.
Ready, Evan?
Wes, give me my jingle. Let's do it.
That stupid ass clap. That stupid ass clap. Back in the midweek trap. The Pacers lost in 7. Hey, the real MVP won. Superstar SGA. Evers, we miss you, dog.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode, Midweek Athlete Pod. We got our boy in the building. Vala, the homie, is back. Last time he was here, we damn near went on a 2-hour episode, so you already know this is about to be a good one. Man, a lot to talk about. I really just want to say it, but I'm gonna wait because there's something I want to do. So Vala, right. I want to ask you a question. We have this reel on Instagram, which y'all need to keep pushing this reel.
Here we
KG
go.
versus Dirk. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now we're not talking about the better player here. Who, in your opinion, had the better career, Dirk or KG?
You blindsided me with this one. There was no pre-pod talk of this. There was no pre-discussion.
We're going right into it.
I'm a big historian of the 2000s power forward movement, which was the last vestige of power forwards in the NBA until we got to where we're at today, where you have like small forwards and shooting guards playing the 4. So Dirk and KG that's Mount Rushmore, bro. Like Mount Rushmore of 4s in that era is like Duncan, KG, Dirk. Who's the other one you can throw in there? Amari Stoudemire.
You can throw Amari in there.
Beast first season.
Even after microfracture, still dominated with the Knicks for a season or two. So if I had to pick one or the other, KG definitely had the storybook ending to his career, right? Going to the most storied franchise in NBA history. He's the watershed Big 3 movement origin during the 2010s when he did it with Boston. But for me, Dirk Nowitzki, if you can carry the weight of a franchise on your shoulder and you're the clear 1A on a championship team, and that championship team is arguably 1A or 1B, the most difficult path to an NBA championship ever in 2011. You guys remember, he took out the last vestige of Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge in Portland.
Kobe and Powell.
I think he swept the defending champ, Kobe Lakers, with Ron Artest threatening to murder him under his breath every game. He beat OKC the year before they went to the finals. Yep. And then you go on to beat LeBron and Wade in the first iteration of the Miami Heat Big 3.
The Heatles.
So that, on top of the international impact Dirk had, the ability to get a bucket wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted, pre-Steve Nash, with Steve Nash, post-Steve Nash, whatever. To me, Dirk Nowitzki wins that argument. I think at their peaks, though, if you're comparing who would I want at the peak of their powers, the prime KG, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, took the Wolves with no other superstar to the Western Conference Finals against the God Mode Lakers versus Dirk at his peak. I don't know if I'm trying to win a one-season championship, I might build that team around KG because you've got the two-way impact that he brings as well.
That's what me and Evers were arguing this entire time.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Dirk had Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Michael Finley, Jason Terry, Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler. Like, How many more players? Josh Howard was a quasi or an all-star that year. He was in Vegas. He made the all-star team, I think.
Yes, he did.
So,
You're right.
he had
You're right.
all these players, and KG was in Minnesota with Sam Cassell and Latrell Sprewell.
For one season.
For one season.
Yeah. But the flip side of that, though, if you're going to play devil's advocate to the argument, you name all these tertiary players, these superstar role players, if you will. You're in the West going up against Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker for a decade.
True. Shaq and
you
Kobe.
got Kobe, Shaq, and his crew. Phil Jackson. Basically, you got to go through them to do anything in the first half of the aughts. And then you've got the Kings who, under Rick Adelman are the most efficient, way ahead of their time offense that we'd seen at that point as well. So being in the West is different, right? Because what most people remember about KG, they don't remember KG in Minnesota.
They don't.
They should. They should.
They should. You're right.
And they will after they watch this podcast. But if you're a millennial in their 30s like us, you grew up watching that KG. You grew up thinking like, bro, the Pistons aren't going to stop the Lakers. KG and the Wolves are the last chance we have at stopping the evil empire. But most people today, like most of you guys watching the episode, you probably remember the Boston Celtics KG, which, is an all-star, all-NBA level player, but he tears his ACL after their first full season together when they win a championship. And he's kind of a shell of himself. He's 32, takes a while to come back, and he's now relegated to a pick-and-pop player with Rondo and their defensive anchor, at least emotionally. So KG has the benefit of recency bias for a lot of fans. But Dirk, the full package, man. I think legacy-wise, it's just I would take Dirk's entire novella versus KG's climax.
I have no issue with that. My counter to that, however, is
Because I said the same thing.
however this, Devin, that I also said, the one thing that Dirk can never say, that KG can say, when I had my full squad, we never lost a playoff series. That Boston team, fully healthy, never lost a playoff series.
And that's fine.
To nobody, right?
Fine.
To nobody. KG single-handedly.
To LeBron in 2012.
But they weren't. That was that team. That
Or
was
2013. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that wasn't the 08 team. They had let Posey go, Tony Allen go, Eddie House wasn't there, Ray Allen was gone. That whole team didn't exist no more.
Yeah.
But in their prime, when they first got together, LeBron couldn't get through them. Dwight Howard only beat him because KG was hurt. That was it. Other than that, you were not beat. Kobe only beat him because the thing about it is when Kobe beat him, people forget Kendrick Perkins tore his ACL in Game 6 of that finals. He tore his ACL. He didn't play in Game 7.
Yeah, and that's a big player to lose when you have Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum manning the front court on the other side.
And
That's
yet,
fair.
when
That's
he was
fair.
in Minnesota, he still won an MVP and took him to a conference finals. And let
did.
us not forget,
He did.
for all the Dirk fans out here, and Dirk, I love you, man. I love you so much more than Luka.
No, we don't.
More to come on Luka in the future. In the future of this pod. Do we forget about 06? Did 06 just not happen?
07, you mean?
No, both. Both. 06
Yeah.
and did that? Those just didn't happen. You blowing
You're right.
a 2-0 lead in the finals to D Wade and Shaq and company, and in the next year you win MVP and get bounced in the first round to the Warriors.
To the We Believe Warriors. Don't be disrespectful.
In
but yes.
06, you also blew a lead to the Mafia, though, right? Because there was a lot of foul calls that went in the favor of the Heat in that finals. I remember I think D Wade by himself outshot free throws
Oh yeah. Our
the
boy JC
entire
will say
Mavericks
that.
team.
He
Our boy JC will
he did
say
outshoot
that.
them.
Yeah.
So, there's nuances to it. I'm with you guys. But 06, Dirk should have had his ring then. 07,
That was the best team in
the,
basketball.
the best team.
that was something. The fact that the Warriors didn't carry that momentum on and go on to lose to a Utah team
Yeah.
that kind of got curb stomped by the Lakers in the conference finals. Like, I wish there was more to that, but I think Dallas, if they get past that horrible matchup, maybe Dirk has another ring to his name during that
Yeah.
season,
Maybe
right?
so.
Could.
We'll
So-
find.
He sure
We would
could.
never know because I don't think they would have beat that Lakers team.
Real quick, though, I said it's 1A, 1B for Dirk as the
Yeah.
toughest run to the finals ever. Y'all know who that other 1A, 1B is I'm referencing?
It would
Toughest
be-
rings.
It's not the 91 Bulls.
Toughest.
We might talk about this team on the podcast today.
It's the Rockets in 94, 95.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
They beat, I think every team they beat on the road. So they were road court disadvantage. They beat a 57, 59, 60, and 62 win team.
Yep.
No other team in playoff history has beaten
that's very true.
4 teams with greater than 57 wins. So shout out to Hakeem Olajuwon. Just want to say that for the podcast.
Shout out to the Dream, man.
Shout out to John Starks for having one of the worst Game 7s ever. Ever.
But before we transition, what I was telling Wes, and I'll tell him this, I'll continue to say this. Everything that KG was defensively, Dirk is offensively.
Facts. That's a
it is. I mean,
good
Wes,
counterpoint.
it's a fact. I am a 30,000 point scorer. I am number 6 all time.
And I'm only international player. Point scorer.
I'm the only international player in the top 10 scoring. The only. So you say that the defensive player of the year is a deal breaker. I think the Finals MVP is a deal breaker. That's just me.
That's a good point.
The Finals MVP is the deal breaker for me because that means that I led my team to that ring.
And he had to be so good offensively that, this is an era where power forwards and centers didn't shoot the ball. He had to be so transcendent that a team looked at him and said, you know what, this doesn't really make sense. Like, our power forwards need to be like Mark Matson standing next to Shaq and just cleaning things up.
Yeah, just clean the glass.
We're just going to give you the keys to the franchise. Here you go. For a young franchise that hadn't really done anything up until that point in the 90s. They're a baby franchise just trying to figure out their identity. So
he was one of the first few of 50, 40, 90 guys. So that tells you everything you need to know about how efficient he was scoring the basketball.
Has anybody ever called Kevin Garnett soft? Has anybody ever said take Dirk? Has anybody ever said KG, put him on the block and punish him and he'll quit?
Chuck Hayes.
Anybody? Chuck is insane. Anybody that actually would do it? Because Dirk was getting punished on the block. That was his weakness. That was Dirk's MO on Dirk. Get physical, get tough, and he'll shut down.
You're right, but then how about when they matched up together?
Oh my God, you had the better team.
But it's still mano y mano. Forget the other 4 guys. When I have the basketball and you're guarding me, do you stop me more times than not? No.
Evan, is basketball a team sport or is it an individual sport?
I clearly just said that basketball is a team sport, but at the end of the day, one-on-one is still a factor. It's still a factor. So you mean to tell me if you're guarding me and I'm scoring on you more times than not, what does that mean? I'm busting your ass. Pause.
That's great. Pause. That's wonderful. But as long as we have more points on the scoreboard than you, who cares? Who cares?
So then Dirk clears that category.
Dirk can have the head-to-head. You want to know what's funny?
Dirk has that category.
You want to know what's funny? The head-to-head ends as soon as KG got his squad and Dirk got his squad.
But Dirk still has the better record. He still has the better
record. While
record.
KG was in Boston, and let's look at what happened from 08 to 2012.
Okay. We're going to look at that after the pod.
Tell me what that looks like.
We're going to look at that after the pod. That's fair.
Because in Minnesota, you can't tell me why KG was in Minnesota.
Fine. That's fair.
Dirk didn't have a significantly better team.
That's fair. Okay. We're going to stat check that after this episode. But we need to get to go ahead and just jump to the main event, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant is a Houston Rocket. Let's get it. Jalen Green, bye-bye, baby, bye-bye. Bye-bye. We got your ticket to Phoenix, brother. I wish you all the best. Thank you. I mean, if you want to be honest, thank you for what you did for Houston for the last 4 years, but you got to go.
What did he do?
I mean, he tried to carry it on his. He tried.
He threw out a pretty good Wingstop commercial. Some nail polish lines too.
Listen. He came after the Harden, so it's just like we need somebody to hold on to. I'm not saying he exceeded expectations, but he at least gave the fans something to look forward to.
Right. Jalen was
that's what I'm saying.
He was a consummate professional. Always showed up. Always said the right things. Never was a disruptor in the locker room. Listened to his vets. Evan, like you said, bro, he was challenged by Ime last season and kind of rose to the occasion this year. He made marginal improvements in the intangibles of his game, which is what Ime challenged him on. Unfortunately, I think you pay $35 million a year to a rising star to do more than the intangibles, and he didn't have that on the biggest stage. But Jalen was, the first draft pick of this whole rebuild.
He was.
The first beacon of hope for the Rockets team after 8 consecutive playoff events. Y'all, real quick, for the Houston fans out there, do y'all understand, what we've been through?
Oh, yeah.
5 years ago. 5 years ago, losing Harden, losing Westbrook, Morey resigning. You get an executive administrator in the front office in Raphael Stone, who's had no GM experience.
But man, he's killing it right
Tillman
now.
Fertitta with no ownership experience comes in, and look at what they've built in 5 years. Like, we are here, baby.
We are here. I think what I like more, like the most
These
about
are
this
facts.
trade is that we didn't give up anything. Like, we didn't give up anything major. The Phoenix Suns wanted Jabari, they wanted Tar, they wanted Reece Shepard, and it came out before the trade even happened that they don't that the Rockets offered Jalen Green, but they said no, like we're not taking Jalen Green. To then turn around and then accept the trade for Jalen Green. Dylan Brooks, I am a fan of you. I'm sorry that you had to go, but this is Kevin Durant we're talking about. So, Wes, what did you think of the overall package?
The overall package is fine. I mean, it's 5 second-round picks. That don't matter.
Right.
Like, now, number 10 right here that they're about to draft now is very interesting because that will go to Phoenix, whoever gets picked right here. And the rumor is that Jalen's going to be on the move again, that Phoenix won't keep him. Because that Phoenix roster makes no sense.
It doesn't.
It makes
You already
no
have
sense.
Booker and Beal, so there's no sense in keeping him.
It's not,
There's
unless
no
you
sense.
can get off of Bradley Beal, which nobody wants that contract
No.
at $52 million.
I will say, and not to cut you off, but I was talking to the homies, my college homies. They think Jalen Green would be a good fit in Memphis.
He'd be a great fit in Memphis.
He would be a great fit in Memphis, but just to throw that out there.
But I don't
Continue.
think Ja is going to be there much longer.
I don't think so either.
I think Ja, this is the last year of Ja Morant in Memphis.
I think so. I think Ja is one of those guys that you have to look out for. Out of nowhere, demands a trade, or Memphis just says we've had enough of the shenanigans. You were supposed to be the franchise guy, and we're starting to move, pieces elsewhere as well. I've heard Jaren Jackson Jr. linked to a lot of stuff.
Yep.
But as far as this trade goes, as far as us talking about the assets lost here, Jalen Green, for all the negativity we're going to throw his way, would be best at, which would be, I said this when the Rockets drafted him, I think he's Jordan Clarkson, like a super Jordan Clarkson. That 38-point game 2 performance that he had, Jalen can be the kind of guy that comes in and just changes the pace, gives you a different look. The 99% athleticism that can just present matchup problems and change the pace of the game when you're struggling. But to be that guy who the defense zones in on and doubles and he has no answer for, has no counter to any defensive sets, and really struggled in isolation sets, I don't think you're good. Honestly, Phoenix might not be a bad spot for him if he comes off the bench and runs that second unit.
It wouldn't.
As long as they can
It
as long
wouldn't
as
be.
they can get off Bradley Beal's death contract, where he has a no trade clause, so I don't know where he goes. But yeah, I mean, Jalen, sorry you couldn't be the guy here,
Sorry.
but you're getting traded for Kevin Durant, so you obviously still have value in this league, and people
Yeah.
view you in a certain light. And maybe things change for him in Phoenix. Maybe he gets another look. Maybe he needed another look in Houston to be that guy. I mean, he's 22 years old.
23. Yeah,
He's going on
something like
23
that.
now. And 4 years,
Yeah.
the 33% usage rate in year 1 and 2 in the first half of year 3. I think we've seen what we need to see from Jalen, especially
We've
after
seen
these
everything.
playoffs.
And that's something that we've talked about too. Is just more so of like I've said it on the pod multiple times. Wes has said it. There was one episode where I was like, this is an all-star or bust type of year for Jalen. Like he needs to come out and be consistent, and that's something that Wes has been harping on since day one. Like your consistency. Like you have to go out there and be able to handle being the star, being the number one option, but it needs to be on a consistent factor. Like that time that he went on just a tear. Baby daddy Jalen Green just went
Cooking.
crazy.
Year 3
right?
from like March onward, he averaged like 29 points a game
20,
on
like
crazy
29
splits.
over like 11 games. Like
Yeah.
that's the Jalen Green that Houston needed. Wes said that that was the first thing. That's the Jalen Green that Rockets fans need right there. So I mean, for 4 years to be in Houston, 2 with Silas, 2 with Ime, and you're still roughly around that
Same guy.
19 to or 18 and 20 point per game. When there's guys in your draft class, Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley, who have taken those leaps,
Chet.
and you're Chet. No. I'm sorry. Chet was in the draft.
The Jabari draft.
Yeah, in the
Jabari
Jabari
draft.
draft. But
Oh, God.
but you're still in that confined space. Like you don't really know. So
The Suns take Malalock.
They needed a big,
They
so this
do.
makes perfect sense for them.
that's a good pickup.
Now, Dylan Brooks hurts. Dylan Brooks.
Dylan does hurt
He's
for
a
me.
part. He's
It
a part
does.
of that culture overhaul that the Rockets had with Fred VanVleet, Steven Adams, getting those
Yep.
vet hauls. But the small forward position on this team is kind of redundant now in the form of Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Kevin Durant, all basically playing that same 3-4 position. And You know, you lose the number 10 pick, but you have 2 lottery guys. I mean, Whitmore wasn't a lottery guy, but he's lottery level talent, certainly with what we've seen, who couldn't even crack this rotation. So now, guess what? Hey, Reed Shepard, you're a top 3 pick. Time to hoop.
It's time to hoop.
You're in this rotation on a team that won, the number 2 seed in the West, 55 plus wins.
55 plus wins.
You're
right.
You're Cam Whitmore. You walk off the court, before the game's even over because you're being put in garbage minutes and you don't get the minutes you want. Hey, you're the backup 2 of this team now. And in some situations where we're going to start resting KD and we're going to give our vets some days off, you're a starting player for a Western Conference contender. Yeah. So you have no excuses to not come out here with the energy that we've seen you play with. So the number 10 pick, I'm not really worried about. You have a plethora of young assets and guys that you want to see. And you have all these draft assets in the future. I think they have 5 tradable draft picks.
They do.
In the next 3-4 years. And so I'm not worried about the number 10 pick at all. And again, y'all, we're getting Kevin fucking Durant.
This is Kevin Durant we're talking about.
25, 6-4 on 50, 40, 90 splits last year, basically. And when he plays, you're getting a guy who will close out the game for you. Yep. You're getting a guy who gives you much needed 3-point shooting. The 43% 3-point shooting he had last year is sorely missed on this team, especially when you have Jalen having 1 for 11 3-point shooting nights in the playoffs. And more than anything else, you're now you're not an upstart team that can play in the regular season. You're legitimately an NBA contender now. I think the betting odds in Vegas yesterday had the Rockets as the number 2 favorite to win the championship in 2026